Good evening. Welcome to the August 28th Lebanon Board of Works meeting. Our first order of business will be Pledge Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, move on to the roll call members. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mayor Gentry.
Here.
Becky McClure, absent. Bill Stoner.
Present.
Dick Robertson.
Here.
Alan Milburn.
Present.
We move on to the approval of the minutes per previous meeting. Are there any changes to the minutes? Would entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion we approve the minutes.
Motion approved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those are approved. Thank you, Board. All right, on to department head reports. First up will be Police Department. Chief Morgan.
Good evening, Board. Since our last meeting, the Lebanon Police Department has responded to 620 calls for service, responded to 33 vehicle accidents, processed 2 gun permits, and arrested 17 people for the following crimes. 6 were wanted on a warrant, 5 for OWI, 2 for public intoxication, 1 for intimidation, 1 for possession of meth, 1 for domestic battery, 1 for resisting law enforcement. In that same time frame, our CSIs did training for all 3 shifts on the packaging and processing of evidence. It's an annual training we try to get the officers back for a refresher on. Lieutenant Knox, Officer Hampshire, and Officer Custis completed TASER instructor recertification. Officer Carlson and Taylor completed their FAA, they're not farmers, FAA drone piloting course for their recertification for the drones. And then the last thing I had, I'm sure everybody's seen it on our social media, we promoted 3 officers last Friday. We promoted Jamie Newland to the rank of sergeant, Justin Knox to the rank of lieutenant, and Aaron Altier to the rank of captain. That is because Captain Warwick retired. That's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief from the board? From the public? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next will be Fire Department. Chief Batts.
Good evening, everyone. Since the last Board of Public Works and Safety meeting, Lebanon Fire has made 128 emergency calls of service. We have logged 330 training hours, completed 9 commercial pre-plans, finalized 63 commercial inspections, participated in 2 TAC meetings, completed 1 car seat fitting, and assisted with 1 public education event. Lieutenant Jason Adams was dispatched with Indiana Task Force 1 to Maui. Jason returned today. Jason's been a part of Indiana Task Force 1 for approximately 2 years and is just doing a great job with them. I talked to him earlier on the phone. He's very happy to be home. He's had a long, hot week along with everyone else there, and thankful that they were able to go there and help, but also thankful to be home as well. Our 3 recruits in the Noblesville Fire Academy are performing well and have begun fire school. LFD has 2 interns from the Work-Based Learning Program at LHS. Emily Sperry and Corbin Wells will spend part of their senior year at LFD, enjoying shift life and going on emergency calls for service. During the month of August, all LFD department members, both merit and civilian, completed sexual harassment awareness training. It is the goal of LFD to provide a safe and inclusive work environment. And lastly, today I had the privilege of being a monitor and a judge at the Boone County Senior Services Senior Olympics. And I had a great time. I was asked to do this, and what a great event. I can't say enough about Anita Bowen and her staff and what they put together for the senior members of our community. It was a real privilege to be there. That's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief from the board? From the public? Thank you, sir. All right, next will be Parks and Recreation. John Messenger.
Good evening. Seashore Water Park is now closed for the season. We've had the best season on record. Want to thank all the visitors for coming out this year. We also want to thank all the managers, captains, lifeguards, and concession stand staff for another safe and successful season. The splash pad will be open, obviously, with 100-degree temps or 90-plus next week. We'll keep it open as long as we can, as long as the weather allows us to. Once it gets around 70 degrees and below, we'll close it down, and that means daytime temperatures, but otherwise, we're in good shape. So just want you to know that's free, and it has been very well received also this year. We had a walnut tree come down Saturday right before the dance. We were setting up, and yeah, we were told, and the walnut tree is right there at the Ulen entrance. It's kind of Ulen Parks property. We have a couple catalpas that I think are Ulen's property also. We're looking into that, but they'll be cleaned up tomorrow, that walnut tree. Anyway, I think Kurt Freshour is going to help us. He helps Dave and I quite a bit. He's going to come out and kind of guide things, and we have our 3 trained tree specialists that'll be out there helping chip it up and clean up the mess. But we'll be good neighbors in that aspect. Panels for the all-inclusive playground will be delivered tomorrow and scheduled to be installed soon. Mayor, that all-inclusive playground that we built there, those panels were broken when they installed them, not endangering any child. It was still safe enough to use, but they were cracked. We rejected those panels. It took a year to get replacements for that. They're just now coming in. I'll get installers. We're not going to install anything. Obviously, they had a little difficulty putting them in, so we'll let them install those. But I just wanted you to know that's finally getting taken care of.
That's on the new playground?
Yeah, on the all-inclusive, yeah. It's been a year now that we've had that open, and those panels, when they installed them, broke them. There's been a couple different things that have happened there that they're pretty well jumping on it, but these panels were pretty frustrating to me. Been calling. I think they did come from overseas, which isn't surprising. That was our holdup originally, too, on that and our lighting projects last year. Let me see, warranty work also on the Splashtacular came out today. They'll be there from 3 days, a crew from Florida, working, painting our slides. They came out a year ago, wasn't happy with their work. They came back this spring. We didn't have nice conditions conducive to painting, so they came, we closed yesterday, and they were out today. They'll be there 3 days. There again, that warranty will start from now for another year, so real happy about that. Hopefully it holds up better than it did last year. Our 2023 Daddy-Daughter Dance was a huge hit. We saw a very large crowd with close to 350 attendees. The weather was beautiful. The girls enjoyed visiting with 2 different mermaids. Mermaid tattoos, mermaid slushy, and dancing the night away. I'd like to give a special thank you to Andy Vaughn for DJing the event, Balloon Decor by Gabby for the beautiful balloon arch at the picture-taking station, and Mermazing Princess parties for providing the 2 mermaids we had. We had one in the water and one up above. And we hope everyone enjoyed the dance as much as we did. We look forward to next year. We had, I think, 170 sign up prior to the event, and unbelievable attendance coming in the door at the last minute. We appreciate all of them. The girls all look fantastic and had a blast. Our fall pickleball league is now in full swing and will run for the next 8 weeks. Please make note that our league is on Thursday evening starting at 6 o'clock, so the courts may be extra full, and looking to a fun event. That's all I have.
Thank you, John. Any questions for John from the board? From the public? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next will be Engineering Department, Kim Krillick.
Thank you. Good evening. Updates on projects down on the courthouse square. We're working still on that southeast corner, or will be working shortly, the southeast corner of Main and Meridian, to install a trench drain across that crosswalk to alleviate some standing water that we see there. Also probably going to be picking up some miscellaneous street paver maintenance over the next couple of weeks as well in just various areas around the square. Making sure everything is dialed in and ready as we go into colder months. Pavement resurfacing programs, citywide. Later tonight, we'll have our final closeout change order of this year's resurfacing program. Still working on one more project, and that is the Riley Road widening. All 4 offers have been accepted and delivered at this point. So we will move forward. We're still trying to work with Centerpoint to resolve a gas line main conflict there. As soon as we get that resolved, we'll move forward into that widening and sidewalk construction bidding packages. Fordyce Street, just remind everyone that's still planning for construction next spring in 2024, possibly run into 25. Still ongoing coordination with the new elementary school there at Fordyce and John Bart, which is, the school project is expected to start construction in September. Big Four Trail project, the rule section is now complete. Had final walkthroughs about 2 weeks ago, and everything is in good shape, just closing out those contracts at this point, moving that forward. Thank Derek Warren for all of his efforts there. Other active living programs, we're working with VS Engineers on a plan to scope the Midland Trace Trail as that corridor goes through Boone County, coordinating those efforts with all county municipalities and the county as well as the city of Westfield, making sure that we understand how that trail goes through the western parts of Westfield and enters into Boone County. The Elizaville Road Drainage Project, still just waiting to coordinate approvals and easements with property owners out there in hopes of trying to move that drainage project forward this fall or in the spring of next year. Witt Road, Stage 1 plans have been received and are under review at this time. Our next major milestone for the Witt Road project, mind you, is a 2027 construction, is preliminary field checks to begin utility coordination in late October. CSX, this is a new one, but CSX is getting ready to start a lot of crossing upgrades countywide, or statewide really, but they're moving into our county probably around the 11th of September. Still a lot of unknowns. We're working with our friends at the county to try to coordinate these. There's 20 plus crossings across the county that they want to do some upgrades to. This will have rolling closures, and unfortunately we're a little disappointed right now in CSX's lack of communication and transparency on exactly when the schedule will happen. So that's all, all I know at this point is they're scheduled to start sometime around November or September 11th and begin working across the county in several different phases as they roll through the railroad corridor. Grant Street, lots going on over on Grant Street. We're still, we're kind of on this transition period between phases 2 and 3, which is, including just north of the intersection of Washington up to Fordyce. We're also working on an added phase, which is the Ann Street intersection water main work. Ann Street is open to traffic, but we are still working on the water tie-in. Unfortunately, they've had some chlorination issues and getting passing results there. They rechlorinated the line and are retesting tomorrow or today and tomorrow in hopes that we'll be able to put that line into service here in the coming days and wrap up the work in that intersection. Retaining wall work also at Ann Street continues. Back over to the main line road of Grant Street. Phase 2 is the east half of the road, and we're wrapping up work on the parking spaces and driveway approaches. Told that we should expect that to that concrete work to wrap up by the end of the week, and looking for them to start removing the west side, switching traffic over to the east side, and continuing those efforts as we go into next week with this switch over from phase 2 to phase 3. There's a notice that's going out to homeowners in the corridor, basically outlining that the west side work will begin and they'll be losing the parking spaces on the west side of the road, but this will come just in time as we open up the parking spaces on the east side of the road. So people on the west side will have the parking available on the east side, and all the driveway approaches will remain open on the east side, and there will be some intermittent closures of interrupted driveway service on the west side as we begin later into the project, pouring curbs and getting ready for driveway approaches. This is all in anticipation of paving towards the end of this year and wrapping up that project, closing out the project next summer. Stone Eater Bike Park, dry detention and stormwater outlet construction is wrapping up. Fine grading is going on. Hopefully by the end of the week, we'll be seeding and stabilizing that area, and that will complete that part of the project, our mass earthwork part of the project. There are currently 2 bid packages out on the street for Stone Eater, and that one is the parking lot and site utility improvements. We had an optional pre-bid meeting today. It was an optional meeting, and so attendance was not required, and unfortunately, we did not have anyone in attendance. But we do know that 4 plan holders have the bid package and are anticipated to bid on the project when bids open at this meeting on the 11th of September. Cross-country, the other package that's out on the street is the cross-country trails and skills trails. This is very specialized construction, so we're requiring a statement of qualification to be submitted. We've received 4 potential bidders through that SOQ process, and we are reviewing those in preparation for a mandatory pre-bid meeting that will be held this Friday. Again, we will also open bid packages on that project on the 11th of September as well. And then look for additional future packages that will come before you for approvals on various items, including fencing, landscaping, signage, off-site trail connections, interpretive signage, and the maintenance building. Those will all be future packages. The LEAP District update, just updating you on the road reconstruction projects. The county did issue another approval for the reconstruction of Witt Road from 47 to about a quarter mile south. That leaves one remaining outstanding permit that they are planning to consider on their next commissioners meeting on the 5th of September. And that's an area from that quarter mile south to about 525, just north of 500 north. So assuming that goes forward, that'll be a reconstruction of the pavement just within the existing pavement limits. And that's planning to move forward with the support of staff, and that'll be before the commissioners at their next meeting. All other approvals for those off-site road improvements pursuant to the MOUs that we've already had in place with the IEDC are moving forward, and should be seeing construction starting in the next few days. Engineering department.
So Kevin, on that, so we're going to have, so they're widening the road in most of the sections, correct?
Correct.
And then there's going to be a small section that it stays the current width?
Correct.
Down to the bottleneck.
It is roughly, I believe it's roughly a mile, that it's a couple thousand feet, that will just be reconstructed in the same width that the pavement is today. At least that's what's being proposed, due to some right-of-way acquisition issues in that area, where they're not able to obtain the additional right-of-way per agreements with those property owners. So what they are proposing and what the county engineer and county highway department is suggesting is that the IEDC be allowed to reconstruct the pavement within the pavement limits, which is county-controlled right-of-way and doesn't require right-of-way acquisition from the adjacent property owners. So yes, the road will be widened for a quarter mile south of 47. That will include turn lanes and temporary traffic signals. It will then narrow down to its existing 18-foot of pavement, and until you get just north of 500 north, and then it will widen out. It will widen out again to the new lanes, the new lane widths with the paved shoulders and everything else until it hits the bridge, and that will continue. The widening will continue down to 450 north.
Are they, I mean, how wide are the lanes they're talking here? Or, I mean,
I believe those are 12, the widening is 12-foot lanes with, I think, 4-foot paved shoulders. I'm going off of memory. I'd have to look at the plans to be sure on the shoulder widths, but.
And then, but the current one that's not being widened is 18 feet total?
The current pavement width
So
is
9-foot
18,
lanes?
19 foot. It varies a little bit, but it would just be reconstructed to a full-depth cross-section within the existing pavement limits.
So they plan to take it out and redo it completely, the narrow section?
Yes, but just the existing pavement width.
So 9-foot lanes.
9-foot lanes, yeah. Not an ideal situation, not a situation that we
I just, it's
would support from an engineering
It's just funny when people
standpoint.
complain about the 11.5-foot lanes, right, and there's two.
Yes, yeah. These will be much smaller than our 11.5-foot lanes downtown.
So
Sorry.
the only reason is that they cannot acquire the right-of-way
Correct,
to widen it out.
correct.
And so the county to help continue the project is asking if they could just do this section, correct?
That's what the county, the staff level is asking for. So the county engineer, the county highway superintendent is supporting a request, a permit request to reconstruct that existing pavement in its existing width. Because they do control that right-of-way. As you're aware, county right-of-ways where there is no platted right-of-way, and property ownership generally goes to the center line of the road, there is a statutory right-of-way that the county reserves for the width of their pavement alone. And they will be using that statutory right-of-way to allow for the reconstruction. But the widening will not occur, so there will be a narrowing of the road. Again, not an ideal situation, not a situation that is supportive from an engineering standpoint, but I don't think there's many options available, which is why the county staff is recommending they at least issue this, as opposed to the county being required to maintain that section of the road and it be reconstructed on either side.
Does the statute define its X amount of feet for right-of-way?
It's my understanding
or is it essentially an easement?
we're primarily, I say statute, I think we're primarily dealing with case law on this matter, which has said the county right-of-way ceases to exist at the edges of the pavement. So.
They widen the road, it doesn't change that?
Yeah, so basically, the way law is in the county on these rural right-of-ways, if you want to widen the road, you have to buy the right-of-way to widen the road. But you don't have to buy right-of-way
Where the road currently is?
or acquire any right-of-way or any temporary right-of-way or access agreements if you are reconstructing within the pavement limits.
Okay. Sorry to derail that a little bit. Go ahead.
No, I'm glad we talked through that so everybody's of the same understanding there. Last thing on my list was just the inspection department report. Since the 14th, we've issued, we've had 10 SWIP inspections, responded to 2 complaints, and issued 8 right-of-way permits, and we continue on the MS4 side of things, working on pond inventories and outfall inspections. And that's all subject to the state's new MS4 regulations that are requiring more oversight on our part regarding pond inventories. And those are all ponds, not just city-owned ponds, but all stormwater detention facilities. And then we're also obviously working on outfall testing, which is any outfall, any pipe that goes into the creek, testing that water supply to verify that it's clean and acceptable to be into the streams and rivers of our community. A lot of updates. You can look at the inspection report regarding projects and project status on the private side of things. But at that point, I think I'll stop, and unless you have any other questions.
Thank you, Kevin. Any questions from the board? No? From the public?
I got one, but I'm trying to figure out how to ask it nicely.
You can always ask it after if you figure it out.
I'll ask after the meeting.
All right, thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
All right, next will be Planning Department. Ben Bontrager.
Good evening, board members. Planning department activity for the last couple of weeks continue to remain very active. We completed 86 building inspections, so we're still averaging about 8 or 9 inspections a day. So good, strong activity there. We did issue 40 building permits over the last couple of weeks, which may seem like we're down a little bit from the last few reporting periods, but I think finally those roofing permits for the hailstorm are finally starting to taper off a little bit. We only issued 10 this time, whereas we're issuing like 30 or 40 permits the last few of the time periods. So still good, strong permit activity, and that does include 3 new single-family home permits, so still seeing great activity there. On the code enforcement side, again, continuing to remain busy, 76 different investigation activities over the last couple of weeks, and that includes things like sending courtesy notices, completing inspections and re-inspections on some of those properties. And over the last couple of weeks, we did also have 22 new cases that came up, and obviously we had a fairly wet month this last month, so most of our new cases are still weeds and grass, whereas usually in August, we're starting to get a little bit drier, so we don't see as many. We had a nice wet early part of this month, so we're still seeing a lot of activity there. In terms of other projects, just a quick update on our Unified Development Ordinance update process we're going through. We just recently submitted a second round of comments to our consultant, and they're working through those as we speak. And they were also waiting for the LEAP PUD ordinance to get adopted by the council, which would just happen at the last meeting. And the LEAP PUD ordinance is actually going to end up becoming a chapter in the Unified Development Ordinance, so we have a whole separate section for LEAP from the rest of our ordinance that people, if they're wanting to refer to the standards related to LEAP, they just go to that chapter and find everything there. So now that we do have that, they'll be incorporating that into our update, and we do anticipate having that start and go through approval processes later this year. Another project we're pretty excited about, and I know we've mentioned a couple times before, our partnership with Habitat, with a program we're calling Elevate Lebanon. We did just kick off our first project as part of this partnership. We're helping one of our wonderful homeowners here in Lebanon with some projects outside of house, some concrete work and some windows and things like that to help shore up the outside of his house. He did qualify through Habitat through their repair program, and we're assisting both logistically and financially on that project. So we're really excited to see that going forward. Had some concrete that got torn out on Friday, and then some concrete started pouring today, and we'll get some additional pours later this week. So really excited to see that moving forward, and certainly we're going to start advertising that partnership more to see if we can identify some additional homeowners within Lebanon that would qualify for assistance through the program. One final thing in terms of Plan Commission filings for the September meeting. I have a series of annexation requests, one for a piece of property on the east side of State Road 39 across from Spring Creek Development on the north side of town. There's a small piece of property there that we have requests from the property owner to annex there. I think it's a property that's it's an investor and it's got property that they're looking to market for development. So they're looking to try to get one piece of property they have into the city. And then we've also had a series of annexation filings in the LEAP district from the IEDC. They're starting to fill in some of the holes that were within the area, the phase 2 area. There were a number of different holes. So they're coming back now. They've got some additional properties under contract to start annexing those holes that were within the existing annexed property that's part of the LEAP district. So we'll see, it'll actually end up being 16 different annexation ordinances that will be on the agendas in about a month or month and a half, because none of them are contiguous to each other. So we have to do them all as separate ordinances, unfortunately, but those will be coming in over the next few months. And then also, actually a PUD ordinance will be introduced at the council meeting tonight for a multifamily development on the north side of town. They also filed for their preliminary plan. So assuming that their PUD ordinance is adopted, they're already coming back in for their preliminary plans, which has additional details on construction, and that goes to the Plan Commission as well. So still some very good development activity that we're seeing there as well. And that's really all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Ben. Any questions for Ben from the board? For the public? Sure.
Thank you.
Next will be Street and Stormwater Department. Dave Newell.
How's everybody doing? Hope you're enjoying the cooler weather. We are. We're still out mowing easements and houses. Usually this time of year the grass is dead, but not this year. It just keeps growing. Guys, we're out saw cutting some potholes, so we'll be taking care of that probably tomorrow or next day. More than likely tomorrow, as long as they're running hot mix. We're picking up trash in our easements, trying to keep those clean, keeping our drains clear of debris for when we do have some rain, which could be this week. We spent a week and a half on the brush week, so it keeps getting bigger and bigger, but we run it until we make it all the way through, so we'll just keep doing that. It should go a little quicker now. We've gotten an extra chipper, so we got 2 new chippers at the shop, so be a lot safer for the crew not dragging it out of trucks. Just make it a lot safer environment. The stormwater crew has repaired 4 drains since the last Board of Works meeting, so they've been super busy, keeping those guys busy. The brush dates for the next is September 11th through the 15th. So, and then we'll do October 16th through the 20th. But the next one coming up is September 11th through the 15th. Some of the people got to see the new building today. We had a meeting over there, so they got to kind of walk about that and see it, and was impressed with it. And Kevin had the same message you did, Dick, and I seen it the same day too, that the stop sign's on the wrong side leaving our lot. I'm not sure why, but it's been taken care of. They're going to repair it or remove it or whatever. But yeah, but that's all I got.
Thank you, Dave. Any questions for Dave from the board?
I just like to comment, I was stopped by the city garage and it's looking really, really nice out there so far, so can't wait to see it all cleaned up and them all ready to move in and see what it looks like once they get everything in there. So it looks good, starting to look good.
I did stop by and it looks great. You have a lot of room inside.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we needed.
Yeah.
All right, anything from the public? Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
All right, and last but not least, communication and community development, Joe LePage.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I want to start with an invitation to the second Eclipse 2024 meeting. That'll be coming up on Thursday, September 7th at 10 a.m. at the top floor of the Lebanon Public Library. If you didn't know already, mark your calendars. April 8th, 2024 is when the Path of Totality will be Lebanon, Indiana, and Eclipse will be happening right in front of us. And so planning some fun events for not only residents but out-of-town visitors as well. 5K, scavenger hunts, downtown events, bands, all those things are being talked about. And so we'd love to have feedback from everyone. It's, of course, free to attend, and rumor has it there may be some food provided courtesy of Backroads Barbecue. And so that's happening on Thursday, September 7th, 10 a.m., top floor of the Lebanon Public Library. Also, we're going to keep you informed there about the eclipse, but also want to keep you informed about what's going on within our community. A great place to do that is our Love in Lebanon podcast. They come out every Tuesday morning, wherever you get your podcasts. It's also available right here on our YouTube channel as well. Last week, we took a closer look inside the LEAP Lebanon project and the Lily project as well with Fluor Corporation. A couple representatives there helped answer some questions that have been going around on social media. And so we continue to do that throughout the process. Tomorrow, we're going to let the cat out of the bag. Craig Melton from Americana, the Lebanon Grill, will be joining us on that podcast episode. The menu, why he picked the former draft board location along Lafayette Avenue, and much more coming up. What is it about Lebanon that attracted him to set up shop? He'll tell you on the podcast tomorrow.
What time is that, Joe?
I post them at 5:30 a.m. And so as you're drive to work, it'll be right there. That's the whole goal. As you're heading to school or work, you have something to listen to. They're usually 20 to 25 minutes top end. And so your commute right there, get you.
Just hit subscribe and it'll pop up in your podcatcher of choice.
Yeah.
And it'll update you. It'll say, hey, we got a new episode for you. But that's free to subscribe to that as well. Thank you, Mayor. Also, finally tonight, uploaded today, Chief Batts mentioned Lebanon's newest firefighter, one of them anyway, the first female firefighter with the department, Katie Pelican. We did a video with her that just went live this afternoon. Great to catch up with her. We brought our intern along as well. Anna Hale did a great job getting some video that we used in that piece that we did with Katie Pelican. Also coming soon, Ben alluded to it as well, Elevate Lebanon. We're gathering some videos, some interviews with the recipient to kind of be a spokesperson for this new initiative the city is passing along. A great ambassador for this first of what we hope are many chances to get back and elevate our community. And so doing some things kind of behind the scenes to be able to launch that campaign formally. Once we get some more information, we get some more people to take part in it, we release it formally.
Thank you, Joe. Any questions for Joe from the board? From the public? Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, that concludes department head reports. Move on to old business. There's nothing on my agenda. Is there anything from the board?
No.
New business then. First item up is a surplus item request from the police department. Chief Morgan.
Hello again. So we have a lot of miscellaneous junk that's left up there, and we're trying to clean up the building, make as much room as possible. As you can see in the pictures I gave you guys, there's some tubs with old uniforms from officers who've no longer there. There's a backpack in there with the straps that are torn off. Some Polaroid cameras that Rick Hale bought when he was chief, so they should be about 20-some years old. Some old carriers for vests that are expired and need to be thrown away, destroyed. And then the second picture, those are things that were stripped off of vehicles that were turned in that can't be used anymore. I believe our fleet managers already contacted Move Over, and they don't want it. They have no use for it. But we'll reach out to some of the other smaller departments, see if there's anything that they can use. But I'd like to keep cleaning out the department as much as possible. Some of this stuff's 20-some years old.
Do those AEDs have an expiration date on them?
The patches do. These were the ones that used to ride around in the trunks of the cars. And we've since got newer ones. I don't know what it would cost to have somebody go back through these and see if they could be refurbished or anything like that. That's something we can check on, but we certainly don't need them up there when we have newer ones.
I just was wondering if there's some value,
Yeah.
nonprofits, what,
Yeah,
I don't
well,
know, just something that, I mean, that, I know the sticky pads get,
Yeah, the one I looked at, it expired like 2015 or something like that. But I know it was mentioned the Little League and stuff like that, if they could put one or two out there, if they're
if
even.
they want it, yeah.
Usable. I don't know what kind of liability you'd have that way. I'm sure it'd have to be refurbished somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I asked him about that earlier,
Yeah.
about refurbishing and give, I'd rather we refurbished them and give them away than not.
Then just throw 'em
do that
away,
and
yeah.
Give them away,
Yep,
'cause
fair enough.
I don't want to be held responsible for,
No, understood.
I want to make sure they're working before we give them away.
Any questions on that from the board? Bill, anything you want to say on the form?
Yep, and forms have been filled out, so
Would entertain a motion then to surplus the miscellaneous supplies as presented.
I make a motion, we approve the to surplus the equipment, surplus outdated equipment.
Okay. Motion to surplus, is there a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's approved. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Good luck continuing your journey cleaning all that out, so. All right, next up will be an alley closure request for dumpster placement at 418 North Lebanon Street. Kevin?
Thank you. It's pretty straightforward. There is an alley closure request at 418. It's actually in the alley just south of 418 North Lebanon Street. To place a dumpster in that alley, just south of the home there at 418, and it's for cleanup of the property, and the dumpster would be placed, scheduled to be placed tomorrow, and would be removed on September 5th. So it's just a right-of-way permit request for the closure of an alley.
It's the alley behind it, not William Street, or it's
It is
the alley?
south of the house, so it's the alley that
Between
comes out
Williams.
onto 39 north of Williams.
Oh, is this a construction dumpster?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
Be there how long, till September what?
till September 5th.
Yeah, there's no parking on the street there either, so, okay. Any questions or concerns with that?
No.
Would entertain a motion then to approve the alley closure request as presented.
I make a motion, we approve the alley request for the dumpster placement at 418 North Lebanon Street as presented.
Motion approved, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alan, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's approved, thank you. All right, Kevin, still you. Road closure requests, US 52 and 300 North.
Yes, actually, I would request that we table these next two items. These are road closure requests associated with temporary traffic signals being installed at the intersection of US 52 and 300 North, as well as State Road 39 and 300 North. These are associated with the LEAP project, or more specifically, the Lilly project. And at this time, we do not have a definitive schedule on when those will be placed, so until we have that schedule, it seems premature to approve the closure request.
Okay. With that, then, I would entertain a motion to table items C and D.
I make a motion that we table item C and D.
Motion to table, is there a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, those items are put on the table. We will address those at a later date. Next will be a balancing change order for Lebanon resurfacing program in 2023. Kevin?
Yep, we've had a couple of these in the last couple of meetings. This is just the closeout change order to zero out the contract for Howard Companies on the Lebanon 2023 resurfacing program. This is a negative change order for $87,824.70. Again, just closing out the unneeded, unused line items in that contract.
You said 87,000.
87824.70. That's a negative number.
Which that means money not spent, correct?
Money not spent.
Any questions on that from the board? Okay, would entertain a motion to approve the balancing change order for the Lebanon resurfacing 2023 program.
Make a motion that we approve as presented.
Motion approved as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Bill. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Thank you, Kevin. Okay, next will be secondary plat approval and associated surety acceptance for Sunbrook Section 3. I guess we do Section 4 as well, we're at it, correct?
Well, there's two separate subdivisions. So the first one is Sunbrook Villas, Section 3.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll do Sunbrook Section 4.
Okay.
So
Sorry, missed the villas on my
No,
agenda.
you're fine. Just nuance there, that these are separate plats and separate subdivisions, so I think they do need to probably be handled individually. So Sunbrook Villas, Section 3, the first item on your agenda is the acceptance of the secondary plat and the associated surety. These sureties are associated with $906,590.31 worth of public infrastructure. The bonding and sureties will accommodate those public infrastructure estimates, and will be done appropriately and reviewed by staff once we have your approval on that acceptance.
It's essentially a motion to approve the secondary plat and accept the surety associated with Section 3 of Sunbrook Villas, correct?
Yep, and I would just make that subject to staff review.
Okay, would entertain a motion then to approve the secondary plat and accept the associated surety bonds for Sunbrook Villas Section 3, subject to staff approval.
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Bill. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's approved. And Section 4 now for Sunbrook?
Yep, Sunbrook Section 4. So both of these are, interesting enough, these are the last sections of these neighborhoods. So this one is Sunbrook Section 4. And again, this is for the acceptance of the secondary plat and approval of that secondary plat and the associated sureties. This is for roughly $1,362,529.50 worth of public infrastructure.
Questions on that from the board? Okay, would entertain a motion to approve the secondary plat and accept the associated surety bonds for Sunbrook Section 4, pending staff review and approval.
I make a motion we approve secondary plot approval, associated acceptance of Sunnybrook Section 4 as presented.
Okay, motion approved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those are approved. All right, that concludes what I have for new business. Is there anything from council, or board, excuse me? All good? Any announcements or discussion? Would entertain a motion concerning the claims.
I make a motion we approve the claims.
Motion to approve the claims. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Dick. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay. Would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Our next Board of Works meeting will be Monday, September 11th at 5:30 PM. We are adjourned.